everyone, today's card's going to be a Christmas card using some of My Graphico's digital stamps, and as you can see here I've already printed it out and I've quickly hit it with some clear embossing powder so that I can colour it in with some Copic markers without it smudging on the paper. So I've done that as soon as it came out of the printer, and now I'm just going to heat set the embossing powder with my heat tool. And this is the paper pack that I'm going to use. This is one of the new Paper Mania linen paper packs, and I just think, you know, the designs are just gorgeous for this time of year. Yeah, great Christmas paper pack. So I've already vaguely cut my pieces down to size. They're not the correct size, they're just something the right size I can work with. And here I'm just going to punch out using a border punch. I think it's called the apron lace or apron border punch, I'm not sure. And this is just using this red cardstock. I'm just lining it up along the punch and then moving it along and doing the same on the other side to get the full length border on this red card. And so now I need to stick down my linen paper to this red cardstock, and I'm just going to use that, do that using some sticky tape runner. I find this is just the quickest and simplest adhesive to work with. It's not necessarily always the correct type though. Sometimes I still use the tape. I'm just sticking that down, just so the very edge of the border of the lace punch is showing. And then I'm going to cut this down properly now to fit on the size I want for my card. Okay, then I'm going to use my new corner chomper, which is the best corner cutter I've ever used, and I've just cut down the top left-hand corner of that red cardstock. Now here I'm going to use my new Brilliance white pad, and these are alcohol based, so they evaporate quite easily, so you've got to keep this little plastic insert that comes with them on all the time. You mustn't discard it. So here what I'm doing is I've put 2 glue dots on, and I'm just going to put the lid on so that this plastic insert sticks to the lid, so it's always there but I don't have to faff with it. I can't remember where I first saw that, but it's such a good idea. And you can see I've already done it here with a 3D sticker on my black StazOn. Anyway, I wanted to test see if this white Brilliance would be bright enough for this quite dark purple card, and if it would show up enough for what I wanted. So I just tested it on a spare piece of cardstock first of all, and I wasn't sure if I liked it enough, so then I went ahead and did it with some Versamark ink and some white embossing powder, just to compare the two. So I'm just putting on some of this white embossing powder, which will stick to that Versamark ink really well, enabling me to then hit it with the heat tool and set it. And then you can compare the two, and I much preferred this one on the left. Now here I've just speeded up this about 5 times, just to show you how I coloured in my little angel using my Copic markers, or Copic markers, I don't know how you pronounce that. And it just shows how it's a build-up of colour. It's not just you know, you don't just whack on a load of colour, you just build it up and keep building it up until you're happy with it. And it's important to compare this colour with the card and the base card that you're going to be using it on, so that it all matches and tones in. I actually went over this a couple more times afterwards just to make that colour a little bit more deep. And here's me just comparing it. I thought it looked a bit wishy-washy, so I went ahead and added a bit more colour. And now for the glitter, I'm just using this glue pen, and what I'm going to do is just colour in over the wings of the fairy or the angel, whatever you want to call it. And you don't have to do this too quickly because this glue doesn't dry immediately, but I did it one wing at a time just to be sure. and then just pour over I think this is my Dazzling Diamonds glitter from Stampin' Up, and just flick off the excess. I went ahead and did the other wing as well. And then because I've worked over this folded bit of copy paper, I can just collect it all up into that fold and then pop it back into the pot. So I've wasted no glitter, and I've only used what is actually on the wings of the angel or the fairy. So once that was dry, I decided to cut around it. I left quite a bit of a white margin because I'm not the best at cutting out, and I tend to find it looks a lot neater if you just leave that margin. And if you just go slowly and carefully, you should be able to cut around it quite neatly. You just have to have a bit of patience. And then I liked the glitter so much, I decided to do the glitter on the apron lace border as well. And so using the same technique as I did for the angel wings, I've just gone ahead and coloured in using my little glue pen. Part way down, I did this in 2 lots, but I just coloured in just this apron lace edge of the topper, and then poured some red glitter over it, and then just finished that off all the way down the edge. Now I can start assembling the card, and I've put a load of 3D stickers on here, and I'm just going to adhere that to the card, lining it up with the very edge and making sure I don't cover up that Merry Christmas sentiment that I've already put on. And then did exactly the same with the angel. I put a load of 3D stickers on her and then added her on top of the red card and the linen paper. So then, just to mimic that red corner rounding bit on the red cardstock, I did exactly the same on the actual base card, just to finish that off. And then I went round to frame it all with my white gel pen to do some faux stitching. Just finishing that off here. Then I decided that left-hand side of the card was looking a little bit bare, so I wanted to add some snowflakes. So I used this X-Cut snowflake punch, and it was really tough to get through this cardstock. It was thicker than I thought, but I punched out 3 of those, and then I initially did just a little bit of glitter on there, but I decided I wanted them all to be fully glittered. So I just squirted out some glue onto my copy paper, and then using my finger just rubbed it all over the snowflake punch out. It's the quickest way of doing it, and it doesn't get that messy. You just wipe it off your finger afterwards and you know, it's fine. And the cleanup is you throw away your bit of copy paper. And just drop that into the glitter so it picked up on the glue. And then I did that for all of the 3 snowflakes. Then I adhered these down to the card using some glue dots, which I positioned first of all before actually sticking them to the snowflakes. But if I did it again, I think I would just stick it onto the snowflakes and then stick the snowflakes to the card, because they weren't quite lined up how I wanted them. But I just fiddled with them for a bit until I was happy. Anyway, that finishes up today's card. I really hope you enjoyed it. Head over to mygraphico.com because they've got loads of good Christmas stamps at the moment. Have a play. I hope you enjoy. See you next time.